Sir Winston Churchill is credited for saying, "Never waste a good crisis." And there are few industries that have experienced existential crises due to the global pandemic than the travel and hospitality industries. I am grateful to my friend Dr. McKirsten, author of the book Project to Product, who told me about one of the most remarkable stories of how an organization was able to use the global pandemic as a way to radically transform their organization and also accelerate their pre-pandemic goals. I'm so honored that our first speaker this morning is Pieter Jordaan, Group CTO of TUI Group, the world's largest integrated travel company. Before the global pandemic, it had generated nearly 20 billion euros in revenue. When the pandemic hit, they simultaneously needed how to figure out how to bring nearly 2 million passengers safely back home, as well as figure out how to survive a period when almost no one wanted to travel and still leave the pandemic even stronger than when it entered it. I think this transformation story is so remarkable for so many reasons, one of which is to the extent of which business and technology leadership was impacted. I genuinely believe that their story will be deeply studied for years to come. Here's Pieter Jordaan.
Thank you, Gene, for that great introduction. I'm feeling honored to present here. So I am going to talk about how to DevOps the hell out of your COVID crisis. So I hope you find this interesting. So a little bit, who am I? So my name is Pieter Jordaan. I'm TUI Group's Chief Technology Officer. I report to Frank Rosenberger. He's the member of the executive board, and he's responsible for IT, future markets, and reports to the group CEO. So today what I would like to try and achieve in this 30 minutes is really tell the story about how our journey of a 20 billion euro group company went all in on cloud, totally transform ourselves into DevOps as a group, and move to a product organization during the COVID crisis. Okay, so we're going to try to tell you a little bit how we start this journey, how we did, how we initially started with small local initiatives, and how we then eventually ended up doing it at the global scale, all in, and what we learned through the COVID crisis, how it accelerated us, and what we discovered. Again, I'm going to share with you all the textbook rules I broke. So Gene will mark my homework when I'm done. Okay, so who are we? So TUI is the world's largest or number one integrated travel company. So what does it mean? So we take about 27 million customers on holiday every year. That, of course, all these things is pre-COVID. It would be too hard to explain that for you in COVID terms. Okay, but what does it mean to be integrated travel company? So we have our own airplanes. You can see 150 plus airplanes, 380 plus hotels, contracted in hotels, branded hotels, resorts. We have 16 cruise ships. We go to over 115 destinations worldwide. Okay, and our pre-COVID turnover, easy 19 and a half. We had our best year ever just before COVID hit us. And then of course you have 1,600 travel shops all around Europe. On the IT side, we have 20 data centers, 400 million product combinations, 8 million price updates easily on a daily basis, 58 billion searches peak hours. So me coming from a technology background, working for investment banks, building large automated trading platforms, coming to TUI was very interesting because of the type of company it is. Really, it's not just an airline, it's not just a hotel. Actually, it's a trading company underlying with heavy assets it needs to operate. And you'll be surprised how many different ways you can price the airline seat. Okay, so how did our journey start? Again, not very different to most people. We, of course, decided we need to go to the cloud. And TUI was a very traditional company. We tried, all the move a small asset to the cloud first and, tried to get buy-in in the cloud, focus on our data center migration. So eventually did a big business case. We're going to close all our data centers. That was our goal. And from an agile perspective, you have these 8 big countries who all have their own e-commerce teams, spearheading agile. in their country, in their initiatives, but really very localized initiatives. And when we do big programs, it's big programs, big projects, and we measure time, we measure cost, right? And we really focus on risk management. Don't touch the revenue, deliver on time. Okay. But just before COVID, we actually realized as a business, we need to change. We have to consolidate. We can't continue to operate as tons of small markets. We need to start to come together. And again, we set up a big program, and every MD of all the markets are there, and all the CIOs and the group CEO. We have this big plan, and it's going to take us years to get there. Years, because everyone's protecting their revenue, everyone's protecting their local initiatives, their local nuance. And then COVID hit. COVID heart attack hit the travel industry really, really hard, as you know. Suddenly, we find ourselves in a situation where we have more than 2 million customers abroad that we have to repatriate. We have cruise ship support. You know all the news about the cruise ships. Airlines could not even fly back to some countries. We had cruise ships that couldn't enter port. Suddenly we have to repatriate all these customers, and all the focus is back to how do we control our burn rate? How do we bring all our customers back? But one of the number one decisions the board made was that this initiative to consolidate cannot go to waste, especially the fact that we as a company probably will experience prolonged reduction in revenues. And that's when they decided